delighted now, actually, to have Festus Akinbusoye, who's the former Bedfordshire Police and Crime Commissioner. Festus, a very good morning. Welcome to Morning Glory.
Good morning.
Appalling, dreadful, difficult to put into words, the impact of that heinous crime on Saturday. What's the answer in your mind, my friend? You were the former Bedfordshire Police and Crime Commissioner. Why aren't we stronger on knife crime?
I think in some cases, some police forces have, sadly, in my opinion, prioritized community relations over community safety. And I think we need to, yes, of course, the British model of policing is built on policing by consent, but I don't think that means that we have to get the permission of the public to police the public. The reality is we need to do what the number one priority of every parent. I'm a parent. I've got 4 kids. I want them just to be safe. And if push comes to shove, do I want the police to be my children's friends? No. Do I want the police to keep my children safe? Absolutely yes.
I tell you why I could not agree with you more. Can I just ask you, are you a former commissioner because you've got those views? Because to me that sounds like complete common sense.
No. I am a former police and crime commissioner because that's an elected role. But I used to be, so I'm equivalent of a mayor with responsibility for policing. So Sadiq Khan is the police and crime commissioner for London.
Right, you said something. You said something that I want to pick up on. Two things. You said we shouldn't police by consent. Maybe I'm old-fashioned. I always say I'm 60. We were scared of the old bill. If they grabbed you by the ear and took you home to your mum, you were going to get a right going over, right? I don't understand how the police have become almost apologetic to criminals. I don't understand, and never will, that you can nick £199 out of a shop and the police won't even turn up. And I don't lay this at this government specifically. I lay it back years. It's a bit like the military. It's an easy take, isn't it? Let's get less police off the streets. I always tell the story of a friend of mine whose dad was a Bobby on the beat even, that was good. And he gave up because he was so frustrated that he used to go out and garner relationships and commit, time to the community. So he'd find out, right? And now he sits in an office ticking boxes on a computer, and it's not the same. And you said community relations. We should put nothing before the safety of the British public. And if that means upsetting people with stop and search, or upsetting people by being, well, certainly, the left would say draconian, I don't give a toss. I want my kids to be able to go on a train. I want my missus to be able to go shopping. Sorry, that's how I see it. And I think millions of people would agree with that, Festus.
Well, during my time as a police and crime commissioner, under my watch, we actually doubled stop and search. And I was absolutely behind the chief constable in making sure that his police officers did their job. And whatever comes afterwards, we will deal with that. And from my side, they will get the political top cover. They knew that they were never going to get thrown under the bus by me as somebody who had responsibility for the oversight and scrutiny of policing. Only on one condition, though. They had to do the right thing, the proper way.
Yes.
I'm a black guy, that goes without saying, and I've been stopped and searched, 6 times, right? 3 times in London, once in Hertfordshire, and once in Buckinghamshire.
How do you react to that?
Well, it's never a pleasant, look, I'll be honest with you, it's never a pleasant experience. Especially, so growing up in East London, in Canning Town, in Newham, we've got the Barking High Street, Barking Road, long road that runs from Canning Town all the way to the end of East Town. And you get stopped on the high street, that's your high street, that's where you live. That's where you live. You get stopped there, in front of everybody. And, when you get stopped as a cheeky young lad, you ask the police officer, why did you stop me? And all you get told is, just to make sure you're not one of London's most wanted. Now, that is unacceptable, right? I had done nothing wrong, and of course, nothing was found on me because I was carrying nothing. Now I know that that was the wrong thing to do. So when that incident ends, the following day, you're back on that high street and everybody sees you. They remember you were the one that was stopped.
You talked about how you doubled stop and search in Bedfordshire. as the former police and crime commissioner. I think it's fascinating what you just said, and I wanted to just talk about this because despite that job, you've admitted that you were stopped and searched 6 times. The big argument is it a racist tool? Let's do this show honestly, right? I've never been stopped and searched. Is that fundamentally wrong? Do you believe that it's a racist tool, or do you believe it's a necessary evil?
I think it's a blunt but necessary tool, because until a police officer has X-ray vision to detect what someone's got in their pocket, the only way you're going to find out if someone has got something is if they've got a weapon. If you stop them and have a conversation, and then politely ask them, look, it's going to last only a couple of minutes, and it's just rule you out as the person that we're looking for, not to treat you as a criminal. But what we did do in Bedfordshire, which I think should be done more broadly, is to say, look, we're not going to tell you not to do your job as a police officer, but if you're getting things wrong over and over and over again, we need to just have a conversation rather than we're going to sack you.
Sorry, can I ask something that's my age? My brain goes slightly different.
You're still very young. You were not in the 50s, by the way.
I'm 60 years of age.
Oh, okay. You don't look it at all.
Which party did you stand for? Because you speak more bloody common sense than I think I've ever heard from a police... Are you Conservative?
Yes, I was Conservative Police and Crime Commissioner, yes.
No wonder you lost your job. But the truth of the matter is, mate, you are absolutely spot on. And I think that we've become almost paralysed by this fear of... I mean, I was talking about, on the show the other day, about the grooming gangs inquiry, Festus, right? And a police... superintendent stood up in Rotherham and said, you know, we probably were slow in terms of doing something about this, and it took 8 years because we didn't want to stir up racial disharmony.
Community tensions.
And I'm thinking to myself, sorry, 8-year-old kids being abused, I don't give a toss if I upset people. And you're saying exactly the same about stop and search. And I think it's a really, really salient point. Are you going to stand again? Well,
we'll see what the future holds.
Listen, I'd please come back onto this show, because I've been blown away by how straight down the line you are. Just one final question. Do you like it? You've got a sense of humour. We're moving away from that, right? The boss of this radio group decided to launch a radio show, station on Saturday called Virgin Radio Christmas, which I think is ludicrous. Now, you're a father. Surely Christmas songs on the 1st of November is far too early, Festus.
Christmas starts on the 25th of December, mate. You know, come on. You know, to be doing that in November, that is... Listen, we've been seeing Christmas stuff in supermarkets. I think I first saw one in September, early October. That's far too early. Far too early. You know, things are difficult out there for parents. You know, the supermarkets should give us a break. And especially your boss. He's making life, you know, very, very difficult.
There you got it, Morris. Now you know the place. Festus, you better come back soon. We love you. Thank you so much indeed. Festus Akinbusoye, a man who used to be the Police and Crime Commissioner of Bedfordshire, didn't win the last election. He says stop and search is an important tool. He's been stopped and searched. He said, I'm a black guy, it's not right, but I understand it deals with the problem. Very intelligent human being.